Hi, everybody, and welcome to part two of my interview with Kim Moose of Cotton Cuts. This part of the section, we're going to cover the different subscriptions and how they came to be and what Kim's vision was for all of them. So, what was we briefly covered it last time of what the first subscription box was the classic box. So I'm gonna let you start from there, and then you can go on from there and describe how you came about each subscription.
Sure. Okay. So wow. How much time do we got, Katie? Like this is a story and a half. Okay, good. All right. So classic, right? So this was the very, very first product that we launched as part of Cotton Cuts. And when I started thinking about starting the business that I wanted to start, I thought, hey, let's do a subscription box. And so I, like many people, went out and subscribed to all of them. And I had, I received the boxes, all the big ones, plus all the ones that aren't still around with us. And I received them, and I actually thought deliberately about how do I feel when I'm opening this box? What do I like about it? What do I not like? And what would I do differently? And one of the universal themes that I felt when I opened all these boxes was that they were all the same no matter who I am. And I am a quilter, have been since I was 13. And one of the things is that no two quilters are ever the same. Everyone has preferences. Everyone's sewing a different project. Everyone likes different fabrics. And I feel like with all the other subscription boxes that were out there, it's we call it you get what you get and you don't throw a fit type box. Like
It's like a one size fits
you
all.
have no choice, right? Everyone gets the same thing. And I really hope you like pink flowers and little ditzy stuff, because that's what you're going to get. And to me, that was, I knew I wasn't that way. I knew none of the quilters I knew were that way. And so it was important for me to put preference into the boxes and have choice. And that's really, Stitch Fix was super popular. And I was like, maybe there's something we can do with Stitch Fix where we send a quick survey out to everybody. You tell us what you like and what you don't like. And then we pair you up with an enthusiast. And each month they pick fabric for you. And you have the option to change. You tell us what you're looking for. And, we have kind of a set grouping of fabrics. And if we can find what you need from that group, great. And if not, we have a vault and we'll go find fabrics and, we'll go shop for things for you. And to me, that's really kind of one of the key differentiators. And it hits literally everything we do. Everyone has choice. You can change preferences all the time. And it really is kind of what makes us different from almost everyone else. And so it was a lot of fun. I had people and everyone's different. So I would have people be like, I love fabric with bugs. Right. And so like my team took that as a challenge. Like, oh my gosh, where can we go find fabric with bugs? Hey, we're at a quilt show and we see a fat quarter. Hey, we know there's a customer that likes bugs. Let's buy it and put it in their box that month. Or hey, we've got someone who loves steampunk. Hey, let's go find steampunk fabric when we're at a show, and we'll find it and we'll put it in their box that month. And to me, those little delighters and inspirers are really, that makes us very happy when we're able to send folks to stuff that we know they like. And that's really kind of the classic box. Is it's the, hey, my guild has a challenge and they want us to send or do orange fabric. I have none. Can you help me with that? And that we can do. So that was project number one. And then about 6 months later, we started with the mystery quilt, which we talked a lot about last time and how that got started and off the ground. And then 6 months later, I was presented with an opportunity to buy a competitor. So there was a company that did subscription boxes. They weren't preference based, but they were more modern fabrics. And they would pick a collection and you would get an assortment of fabrics from that collection each month. And they were going out of business. She was about to have her 5th child and her fulfillment partner was shutting down. And so she contacted me, and after a series of discussions, we thought it'd be a great fit. And I had the opportunity to buy her company and integrate it into Cotton Cuts, and it is now our modern maker boxes. It's a little different than the company that we bought, but it was one of those, it was a good opportunity to expand. We then started offering full yard cuts of fabric, which is not something that we traditionally had done in the past. And we grew by adding our modern maker box. And it was at that time when I started looking at, like, we really have to start hiring employees to come and help us cut and fold all this fabric. This was a big deal. We doubled the company overnight when I bought the company. And so it was a good way to kind of expand what we were currently doing in a different way.
Do you have an example of of a modern maker box?
I do. Ba, 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 bam. Okay, so,
Ooh,
right. So the Modern Maker Box, it's the way that the Modern Maker Box works each month is we pick a modern collection. The definition of modern is changing. We can probably talk about that at a future point in time, but
okay.
we pick a modern collection. We pick 9 prints and we put them in groups of 3. And then this is our full yard product. So obviously it's in a cotton cuts box with a cotton cuts ribbon. With each one of these, both the full size and the mini, you get a spool of Aurifil thread. We love our Aurifil thread at Cotton Cuts. You get a pencil and then you get a pattern download, right? And so that's another piece that I don't know if a lot of folks know about our boxes. Many of
Yeah.
them come with a free pattern download. So when I went through that process of joining all the other memberships, I would get patterns and I'd be like, I'm never making this. And I would just like toss it aside, like I'll give it away to someone. It's going on the freebie table at the guild meeting. And so for me, I wanted to create a subscription where you could choose the pattern you downloaded each month. And so you would have a choice of 3 to 5 patterns, pick the one that you like. And we would partner with designers who might not have a strong platform with which to show their patterns and share them with their membership. So meet the pattern designer, hear a little bit about them, and then pick one of the patterns that they were featuring that month. It's digital, so you can download it and you can store it wherever you want, rather than getting a paper pattern, which feels really good, but which I will probably never make.
Yeah.
So we also get a pattern with our Modern Maker boxes as well, the Aurifil thread. We have cute pencils with sayings on them that quilters love. I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting, but yeah, that's our Modern Maker box.
There's 2 sizes of the modern maker, right?
Yes, ma'am. God, you could probably give this speech, right? So we have kind of what we call full-size boxes and then mini boxes, right? And so when I was looking at a lot of what other subscription companies do, it was one size fits all. And I do not have nearly as much time to sew as some other folks. And so the idea of getting 3 1-yard cuts of fabric each month is a lot to me. Like I will never sew that fast. And so I was like, how can I get to people who like to quilt, who want, fun surprises in the mail each month? And so we've created mini versions. So the mini version is 3 half-yard cuts from that same collection. And so that works for people like me who want to see fabric, who want to be inspired, who are afraid of possibly buying them online, and who want to see these collections and just have the fabric and be able to plug it into smaller projects that are more manageable for me. I am never going to be one to make a king size quilt every month. I mean, never say never. It could potentially happen. Right. But it's great for me because I'm always looking for quick projects for teachers or quick projects for friends or guild mates or employees. Like, what are quick things I can sew together? And the half-yard cuts work perfectly for someone like me who just needs a little bit of fabric to kind of put in a cute little project.
Oh, that's
Did I
great.
get everything on Modern Maker?
Yes. So what
Good.
came after the modern maker kit?
Right. So then we did Java and Chroma next. And so these were things that as we were collecting preferences from folks and as we launched the Modern Maker, we realized how much people really love batiks. So they either love batiks or they hate batiks. I've learned you're either on one side or the other. There's no team, there's no middle ground on batiks. You either love or hate them. And we found out how much people really loved Aurifil. And so this was kind of, as we launched these boxes, we realized that there were these very distinct camps of people, and what could we do to possibly do something for them? And so Hoffman at the time approached us, and they have these super awesome coordinated bundles. So they're themed by the month. This one's for July. I love our Halloween one every year. I love our August one, right? And these are Hoffman batiks, which are super high quality. I love Hoffman
So
batiks.
do they come
Yes.
made that way from the factory, or do you have
They
your
do.
employees do them that way?
Nope, these come directly from Hoffman to us. And what we do is, right, so they're seasonally coordinated each month. I love Hoffman batiks. They're super high quality.
Yeah.
We've had problems with batiks in the past. The way that the batiks are made, you can oftentimes get trash and other sorts of gross things in there. Hoffman is very good about delivering a quality product to us. And so for our Java, we call it Java because the island where batiks are made is actually called Java. That's how it got its name. It's the island where batiks are traditionally made from. We like to put it with a spool of coordinating thread and the pencil, and then you get a free pattern download with the Javas too. Again, because it's nice to have this fabric, but it's also nice to have a project that goes with it. At the same time, we were learning about Aurifil thread, and so that's when we launched our Chroma memberships, which are, gosh, there's so many different variations of thread because so many people use them so differently. So the basic kind of shtick behind Chroma is each month is a different color. And so it's
Okay.
all color themed. And so in theory, if you subscribe to 12 months of Chroma, you would have a full rainbow of thread at the end of it. And so some people really like these big giant spools of thread. And we're like, 3 giant spools of thread is going to be enough to sew a couple projects together.
Yeah.
Some people like smaller spools of thread and some people like fewer spools of thread. And so we came up with this whole family of Chroma. Again, the idea of preference, right? Not everyone is able to sew as much as you, Katy, but some people sew as much as I do, right? So it's the idea of like, if I was to get this, I know this would be too much for me, but I know there are people that join this and they burn
Yeah.
through all 3 spools in a month. I could never do that. So I like the smaller spools, right? So the idea is no 2 quilters are the same. So let's make sure that we're offering subscriptions that fit the quilter, right? And we love Aurifil. We've recently, within the past year, launched Wonderfil. I love Wonderfil threads. I actually do a lot of English paper piecing with Wonderfil. It's polyester threads, and it's same thing, solids and variegated. We did Eleganza. Allison Glass does a lot with Wonderfil Eleganza. So we have all these thread memberships because we listen to our folks. They tell us what they like. They tell us what they want to use, and we've just created this kind of rainbow of colorful inspiration with our Chroma memberships. Love them.
I think
And each one comes with a pencil and a pattern download and our color challenge cards.
well, that's just outstanding.
Yeah.
Have you been thinking about whether you're going to be adding any other types of subscriptions in the future?
Always.
I mean, is there anything ranking at the top of your list that you're really going to do?
Okay, so hold on one second. So this year, right? So well, last year we were playing a little bit with kind of mini mysteries, right?
Mhm.
Which is like a super short-term 5-week mini mystery. And that led to the concept of our gnomes, which we're
Right.
doing this year, which I absolutely love. We have a couple of ideas for kind of what 2024 could look like from a similar type concept. We pre-cut, it's pixelated, we send it out to you, it's great. From the box's perspective, you know, we're really always looking at what do people want? What are trends, right? This emerging, changing definition of what modern fabric is something that it's intriguing to me. Like, is there like grandmas that think they're modern but aren't modern anymore? And then do we come up with like a real modern box?
I think it's hard to just, for me, I think I'm kind of leaning in between the two. I don't really
Mhm.
care for traditional, but I really like a lot of the newer stuff I'm seeing out there and the modern stuff. But I would love to see more time spent promoting modern, I guess.
Well,
So
so here's the funny twist, right? And so this is a hot take. So what you define as traditional is probably like 1880s reproduction. Yes, a lot of blues and browns and
yeah,
greens.
I get
Yeah,
bored with that.
that is now modern,
What? Really?
right? So like cape and tula are rapidly becoming traditional, right?
Oh,
So this
wow.
is, yeah. So when I hear modern quilters, it's a lot of solids and it's a lot of art gallery, which is very those natural sage and navy and brown and tan is becoming more modern.
I think batiks need to really be thrown out there in everybody's face.
I mean, batiks have their following, and I think batiks really kind of buck a trend. They're not really modern, they're not really traditional. I think they kind of span lovers of all genres, but it's just interesting to see this emerging new definition. And they call it a
Yeah,
grand millennial. And so it's traditionally a quilter that's, you know, 25 to 40, that finds like grandma fabrics to be hip and trendy. So we'll put out like a Morris & Co. mystery quilt that's made with reproduction fabrics from the 1880s. And the number of 18 to 30-year-olds that sign up for it is mind-boggling to me.
I
But
think
it's one
the
of those.
1800 reproductions, some of it I find appealing, and then other parts of it, not so much.
Oh,
If it
there's like
looks, it's strange, but you're familiar with Monique and Simpson and
mhm,
Primitive Gatherings, and
yeah.
I really like that style, but
Uh-huh.
outside of those two styles, not so much.
Well, I mean, so it's reproduction. It's got a big span, right? 1880s reproduction to 1930s reproduction. Those are vastly different
Yeah,
fabrics. I think for me, it's interesting that, I used to think like, hey, Cape and Tula and Allison Glass, they're modern, they're fun, and they're rapidly becoming grandma traditional. And
Yeah, it's
it's
amazing
just
how many
we're
people
right at
like
this
them.
change. Yeah, we're right at this change. And so for me, we always want to give people exactly what they want, right? Again, preference and choice. And so how do we stay on top of these trends and give people what they want and what they're looking for?
Okay. So
Yeah.
before we change over to talk about the puzzle mystery stuff, um, when you started doing the subscription
Mhm.
boxes and you're putting all these cards, you have
Yeah.
the card about the designer and on
Mhm.
the a freebie, and you do the Cotton Cuts block of the month
Mhm.
and the color card, and also you get a cool little saying
Mhm.
and a description of what's in your box. How did you come up with that idea?
Oh my gosh. Um, right. So, okay, so let's talk about the contents cards first. So what comes with your box? So again, I subscribe to a whole bunch, and I feel like as I was opening them, it was important for me to be educated by what I was receiving. And so I am always a big like education. Most of our social posts have to have some level of education to them. I mean, fun, but I felt like we had an opportunity to teach people and to teach them. I had no idea there were designers and collections
Me
before I started
neither.
this business. I had like I was just like, it's pretty fabric I see in the store. I had no idea of the whole everything behind it. And so for me, when we do contents cards, it's important for me to educate the people that we're delivering goods to, right? It's important for you to know, because if say you really like this, it's nice to know that you like Minnick and Simpson. It's nice to know that you hate art gallery, right? So it's educating you as to what you like and what you might not have exposure to or knowledge of. I love supporting independent designers, right? That's always been crux to us. Every month we've had a different independent designer. They get, reimbursed for all the patterns that are downloaded through our shop. I'm always a big fan of all boats float. So let's, use our platform to help as many brands as possible
That's a
grow.
great
And
thing.
all boats float, right? The
Yep.
concept that we're competitors, and no, like
We're a
the pie,
family.
right, exactly. The pie is big enough for everybody.
Yep.
And, we've had that same philosophy when we've looked at YouTube partners. It's the like, we don't need someone who has 100,000 person following. Like, let's find someone who has 2 to 5,000. Let's partner with them and let's all grow together. I
Yeah.
feel like that's a better philosophy and approach than necessarily like someone who's going to charge me $1,000 and we're just another checkbox for them. I
Yeah.
like partners. I like people we grow with. So the color challenge card, in 2016, when we launched, coloring was everywhere. You couldn't go like into a gas station without seeing coloring books on the shelves. And I was like, here's a great opportunity to do basic quilt blocks and give quilters who are naturally creative people an opportunity to color different patterns, right? I mean, that was at the time when a lot of quilt patterns came with coloring grids that you could color shapes into.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a no-brainer. This is a low-hanging fruit. Like, let's give folks a chance to color in the blocks, and then let's give them a prize if they do. And so every month you fill in those blocks, you color them in, and we give away prizes. It has evolved over time to where now we give sewing instructions. We didn't used to do that, right? And then we got all these requests from people like, hey, I want to make the stuff I'm coloring. And so now we give sewing instructions. And now we give prizes for people that sew the blocks and prizes for people that just color the blocks.
Yep. People like me who get out there and make them.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Because
And I mean, I think it's
I won a
fantastic.
prize on one of those that I made
Mhm.
because I had a lot of
And
fun with it.
and this year we've even expanded it because people went a full year and made every block and then they put them in quilts. Like, I didn't know people would do that. And I'm super excited. So all those folks got a gift certificate to the shop because they put together a quilt with the 12 months of blocks. Like, that's awesome and amazing. I was inspired by things people were doing with our stuff. And so that was worth giving them prizes for.
I think that the Cotton Cuts family has just really been inspired by the things that you keep us inspired on doing. I mean, you're always introducing something for us to try or do.
Do you want to hear the new stuff that like no one else knows about that's coming up in the
Yes,
next 3 to 4
please.
months? This is gonna be like the hot take in your video. Like, they'll have to listen to us talking about old people reproduction fabric for a while to get to this part. Okay, so coming up in the next 2 to 3 months for Cotton Cuts, like, I am so like again, I'm going to give you timelines. Things might change because of everything. So one of our two main projects we're going to be launching, we're going to call Spirit, as in team spirit. And so these are pre-cut 2-color quilts made out of solids and solid batiks.
Great.
Everyone knows someone in high school, everyone knows someone in college, and everyone knows that sports fanatic that is looking for a quilt for them to give as graduation gifts, or a quilt to give to take to, you know, the football game. And so all these quilts, it's really simple. We're going to have a couple designs. We're going to release new designs quarterly, and you pick whatever your 2 favorite colors are, and we die cut the quilt and send it to you, and you can sew it.
That's outstanding.
So like my alma mater was purple and gold. So
mine was purple and gold.
So, right. I know, we were the Badgers. We were purple and gold, right? So you go online to the website and you pick color 1 purple, color 2 gold, and we have swatches, and you can actually see the quilt rendered in those colors, and you pick your size. And so you can do a baby, lap, twin, king, queen, king. So those are 2 separate words. You pick whatever size you want, and we'll die cut the parts and send them to you.
That's great.
So the first one, I'll give you a hint, it's hourglass, which to make a king size hourglass quilt would take like 16 days of cutting. We'll do all that cutting for you, and you just sew it together. And then that way you can have a graduation gift. And so each quarter we're going to release a different pattern, but similar concept. Pick color 1, color 2, and off you go. That's
great. That's going to be fun to experiment with.
Yes. If you like experimenting, then you're going to love this next one. So a couple weeks ago, we accidentally launched a header on our website, and someone picked it up immediately. I was completely surprised.
I saw it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not sad by it. Like, we accidentally made the website live and it wasn't ready yet. So it's design your own quilt. And so this is something we've been wanting to do for a long time, and we finally have the technology to do it. That's part of the reason why we had to move to the new website. I know that's been some headaches for a lot of folks, but moving to the new website gave us the opportunity to do this. So right now, all of my sales reps are coming around and showing me new fabrics. And tomorrow I'm going to see the new Tula Pink collection, right? We're going to take those digital assets from a couple collections. We're going to upload them to the website. And you're going to get to design your own pre-cut quilt. So we're going to start with Aurora, which is, Aurora is one of our most popular ones, early mystery. It's a star, an exploding star pattern. And we're going to upload, right now we're testing with all of Tula Pink's besties, right? We'll do whatever future collection she has. And you can say, for fabric A, I want this fabric. For fabric B, I want this fabric. For fabric C, I want this fabric. And the quilt is actually designed for you on the screen. And you can play with it. And you can switch out and say, instead of A over here, I want maybe B to be this fabric and C to be this fabric, display quilt, and it'll actually display what the quilt looks like for you.
Wow, that's going to be fun.
All pre-cut, because it's a mystery, right? So it's everything will be pre-cut to you, and you'll be like, bye. And when the fabric arrives, again, it's going to be a lead time, 6 to 9 months, right? For the fabric to arrive, we'll die cut all that fabric and send you the quilt that you designed by yourself.
Is outstanding.
And we'll have, and because not everyone likes to like sit and play and create like that, we'll have some pre-designed ones. So I'm gonna have Sheila go through, well, examples, but also, you know, we'll have a couple that for some folks that don't necessarily want to pick all the fabrics, like I just want that collection, like the latest cape. I just want the latest cape in that design, and we're gonna pre-order the fabrics, and then when it arrives, we'll die cut and send it to you.
Oh, that's going to be cool.
So we're starting with Aurora. So other ones, we're going to do Sparkle and Shine, Name of the Rose, and was it Cosmos? There's like 3 or 4 PMQ designs we like, but yeah.
Okay. We have 10 minutes left.
I know we do. I'm sorry.
It's okay. So
what happens when you get me talking, Katie? There's so much. You got the scoop on 2 things that literally nobody else has heard about.
Yeah, and that's why we're spreading this out.
Yeah.
Okay, why did you decide to make the mystery clues from pre-cuts?
So Sheila came up with all that. So Sheila had been selling pre-cut mystery quilts out of her shop for about 3 years before she reached out to us. And when she reached out to me with this, like, hey, I'm looking for someone in the US to help me distribute this program, I loved it because it was pre-cut. I have no time in my life. I had a corporate job at that time. And the idea of like, you're going to shop for all the fabrics for me, so I'm not going to have to go to 16 different quilt shops looking for it. You're going to put them in a pleasing order. It's pre-cut, and I'm going to be pleasantly surprised at the end. Like all of that, I was like, I'm in. Like you have hit so many value drivers for me. I'm like, this idea is amazing. And I loved the fact that it is one of the few programs that hits experienced quilters and beginning quilters.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you have arthritis and can't cut fabric anymore, you can join our mystery quilt and you can still sew. If you're in a retirement home and don't have access to your stash, you can still sew. If you're in a tiny apartment, your first apartment in New York City, and all you have is a sewing machine, you can make this quilt, right? There were so many reasons why it was such a strong program for me. I was like, this is amazing. I love everything about it. And it was just the perfect program for us.
How did you decide how long the puzzle mystery cow would be?
Oh, Sheila does all that.
Oh,
So she divides it up into, she's the one that does all the breaking it up into 10 months, and she writes all the instructions for us. She does all that brain work behind the scenes for us, and we just make sure that people love it.
and how long has the PMQ been going on now?
Our first one launched in February of 2017. I think, Katie, we're up to number 15, I want to say 14 or 15.
I'm about to hit that big mark.
Yeah.
Okay, and what was the name of the very first one?
We just covered this. It was called All Aglow, was the name of the very first mystery. There were 8 colorways. I'm going to give a shout out to Trish Reed. I hope she watches this video. She's been with us since the very beginning. She still has all of her swatch cards and fabric from All Aglow. Like, we were on a Zoom one night and she was bringing out like all the iterations of the cotton cut swatch card. And it used to be, we would print on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper everyone's swatches. So you would see like fabric A would be like an image that was this big. It was amazing.
Cool.
We've grown so much.
Did you think that the PMQ would become such a big thing?
I mean, I hoped it would.
I mean, I know you had visions of hoping it would, but
yeah,
I'm assuming that it's met your expectations of that.
it has. Right. I mean, I'm a business person, right? And when you itemize out all the reasons why the PMQ is awesome, I knew it had so much potential. I still think it has a lot more potential too.
Yeah.
I think that, we're not done with that program at all. And I love that it's different every time. It's different colorways. I think that there is still so much more potential for it, for sure.
So I think I will like to come to a stopping point here because
Sure.
I have some more in-depth questions I would like to cover relating to the PMQ itself. So if it's okay by you, we'll do this on round 3. And I appreciate you doing this with me, and I'm learning so much about your company, and I really find you guys inspiring.
I appreciate you too, Katie. Thank you so much for the time and the opportunity to talk about all these awesome things.
Okay, let me pause this thing.